Welcome to Drew Manchu's Comic Book Reviews. I'm your host, Drew Manchu, and today we're going to be taking a look at House of X, number 4. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Moira who lived a very mundane life up until her death. That's when she realized that she was a mutant. Her ability was that she was reborn, sent back to relive her same life over and over again, but with the knowledge of everything she had learned in her past lives. Over the course of a few lifetimes, she began to see her mutant gift as a curse, and sought through science to cure the X gene. She was successful and she found a cure, only to be forced to realize that she should be living to better the mutant population, not to eradicate it. But try as she might, every life that followed ended in tragedy. The emergence of AI technology always spelled doom for the mutants. The AI was inevitable, but the mutant-hunting Sentinel AI Nimrod was avoidable. Teaming up with Apocalypse 100 years in the future, Moira was able to pinpoint the moment in time when Nimrod was born. She was then killed and sent back to be reborn again with this knowledge, in order to direct Charles Xavier and his X-Men to defeat Nimrod before he even has a chance to come online. Now the leader of the sovereign nation of Krakoa, with mutant kind finally united, Xavier learns that a mother mold is being constructed between Mercury and the Sun. Orchis, a conglomerate of Earth's human scientists tasked with containing the mutant threat, is on the cusp of activating this self-replicating AI, which will be the first step in the creation of Nimrod. Xavier has rallied the troops and sent Cyclops to the Mother Mold with the intention of sending it into the sun. But a last-ditch effort by Orchis security chief Erasmus crippled the strike team while they were attempting to breach the hull of the Orchis Forge. House of X number 4 begins with Xavier and company forming a psychic cabal in order to communicate with the strike team from Krakoa. We saw their ship explode in the last issue, and while all is not lost, Archangel and Husk are dead, Nightcrawler is injured, and Wolverine's healing factor has its work cut out for it. The team has to keep going, so they push forward. They have 4 control collars to uncouple, and the injured Kurt starts bamfing the key players to their positions. Before Orchis even has a chance to react, Wolverine and Nightcrawler have taken care of their collars, and Wolvie has left a trail of bodies behind him. Meanwhile, Monet and Jean, who stayed behind on the remnants of the ship, are boarded by the Orchis security forces. Jean is forced to use one of the escape pods, while Monet covers her retreat, going down in a blaze of glory, but taking as many Orchis forces as she can on her way out. Cyclops reaches his collar and deactivates it, leaving only one to go, but Karima and Dr. Gregor beat Mystique to the punch, and before she reaches her control collar, she is sucked out of the airlock into the vacuum of space. Her hand forced, Dr. Gregor activates the Mother Mold. The activation countdown begins with no hope of reaching the final collar control, but this is the last chance for the X-Men. Kurt bamfs Wolverine outside onto the collar itself, sacrificing himself as he was instantly vaporized. The more durable Wolverine successfully destroys the collar and meets his end alongside the now monologuing Mother Mold as they fall into the sun. With Jean adrift in one of the escape pods and Cyclops the only one left, he scrambles to come up with a plan. But all for naught as he's met by Karima and Dr. Gregor, and he meets his end execution style. At the same time, the Sentinel drones that Orchis called for arrive and swarm Jean's escape pod. The Mother Mold was destroyed, the mission accomplished, but the cost was high. This is how it always ends, with fire and death. And on his knees, with tears streaming down his face, Professor Charles Xavier declares, "No more." So the last issue ended with the ship exploding and us all meant to believe that this strike team was dead. Well, they are dead, but they all got a chance to meet their end a little bit more fittingly in this issue right here. This mission was billed as a suicide mission from the jump, and the second the ship exploded, we know even if they did survive, they had no way of getting back. But the fact that this team just keeps on going and going until their goal is completed, it just shows you how important this mission is to them. They all get a fitting end with the exclusion of Husk, who, I mean, really, who cares about Husk? an archangel who kind of goes out like a bitch. But what was he going to do? Fly through the corridors of the space station? It's kind of dumb to even bring him, I'll be honest. At least we're treated to some stellar action before we lose our favorite heroes. Wolverine gets to body a whole bunch of scientists, and that's exactly what he was looking for going into this thing. Monet gets a chance to shine as a badass as well, and Kurt gets to sacrifice himself to put Wolverine out on the arm. That's pretty great. I get that Hickman is trying to use this suicide mission as a way to motivate Xavier in the next phase of this story, and I'm really excited to see where that all goes. We get the infographics of basically how the mutants have been eradicated by the humans and other forces over the years. And that all plays into Xavier's declaration of no more. No more mutant massacres. No more Scarlet Witch wishing everybody away. No more Genosian Holocaust. He's sick and tired of losing his children to this war, and he is done. No more. The one problem I have with this is he pretty much knew it was a suicide mission going into it, so if he was so upset about losing these kids, then why was he sending them out to die in the first place? That is a little bit questionable. Also, there's a giant centerfold in the middle of this book that advertises all the new X-books starring these characters we just lost that are coming up soon. So we know that this isn't permanent, or this isn't the same lifetime that we're going to be living in the Dawn of X when that all starts. We know this is the 10th timeline because that's the way it was spelled out in the last issue. So maybe Dawn of X is the 11th timeline. Maybe it's the 6th timeline. Who even knows at this point? I can't wait to see where Hickman takes this book, but they didn't give us too much to go on in this issue alone. What we do get is wonderful action, beautiful art, and fitting ends to some of the greatest characters in the history of comics. Whether or not those are permanent is neither here nor there. Very poignant writing by Jonathan Hickman. Along with Xavier's motivation, I also have to question what timeline this is in conjunction with the 616, because in current Marvel continuity, Wolverine has recently been dead for quite some time, and in this issue he questions Kurt about the afterlife, so maybe this isn't the Wolverine that we've known so far. So that is a different way of looking at things altogether. I don't think it's a mistake because Hickman doesn't make those kind of flubs, and in that case it would be a major flub. We're also treated to some beautiful collages in the back displaying the no more statement in relation to the Genosian genocide and the decimation. And as it's not really so much an infographic as we've gotten before, it is pretty neat stuff. It's juxtaposed with images from the book in black and white, and I think it's really cool. I dig it. Next up in the reading order is Powers of 10 number 4, which is being billed as something sinister, so hopefully we're going to get some of that Mr. Sinister Chimera stuff in that book, so I can't wait for that. House of X number 4 was an action-packed thrill ride and a really nice stop along the way in this bigger story. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5, guys. Absolutely stellar issue. Great layouts, great art, great words. Can't get much better than that. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you know anytime the Comic Core is going live. Alternatively, if you'd like to support us monetarily, you can buy some of our Comic Core t-shirts. They're available on our TeePublic store. Click the link in the description below, or just go to the TeePublic website, type in Comic Core, and then shop till you drop. Do you have a hot date coming up? Maybe a job interview? We're putting up new designs all the time. You can check out this Drew Man Chew Bebe t-shirt. Impress your friends, your neighbors, and potential employers with your style. They're available in a plethora of different colors. Check the link in the description below.